Hello everybody, it's Captain Klein again with our second installment of Q&A with the Captain. So as I mentioned last week, for the duration of the pandemic, I do intend on posting the video with questions and answers covering topics of interest to our sailors and civilians. So this week's topic is child care. I'm going to go through a few questions on the topic, provide my responses, which should help clear up some confusion and maybe address some concerns among our command personnel. So question number one. Are all the CDCs that fall under NSA Hampton Roads currently closed? No, they're not. Now we have consolidated some of our services. Our 24/7 centers are operating under modified hours, and we've consolidated some of our caregivers to make sure that we can provide service in what's known as CYP2, which essentially is that we are providing care to those folks who are designated as mission essential. But at this point, we do have child care services available at each one of our annex installations. Question number two. How are the CDCs able to practice social distancing when kids constantly want to play close to their teachers and caregivers and be held? Well, it can be very challenging, and we're currently working on our policies to try to limit that. But what I'll tell you is we're screening all personnel, staff, and parents and children who come into the center for any potential illness. So last week, you'll remember the 4 questions we asked before everybody comes to work. We asked those same questions at our child care centers to make sure that we don't introduce any potential illness into the center. We also have always followed very strict and frequent hand washing and sanitation guidelines in our centers. And with the current COVID crisis, we've increased the frequency of our sanitizing flat surfaces, and we've actually eliminated some of those interactive practices that we used to use, like family style dining and brushing teeth and those types of things that require closer contact to try to minimize the risk. Question number 3. How safe are the CDCs currently with multiple teachers and children still occupying the facility? Well, that sort of relates back to the last question. Before anybody comes into the facility, they have to answer the screening questions. If there's any risk indicated by that, then those personnel are not authorized to come into the facility, and they're directed to contact their child health care provider. Additionally, also related to the last question, we have implemented even more stringent cleaning standards to make sure that flat surfaces and high-touch items are routinely cleaned and cleaned more often than they typically would be. We've also gone to smaller classroom ratios. So the transition to CYP2, which goes to mission essential personnel care, child care for mission essential personnel, is designed to get us to a lower ratio in the classroom, teacher to child ratio. And we think that helps to limit the contact and make the environment safer. What I can tell you is this is an area where we have to balance the risk, right? We're doing everything we can to minimize the risk of exposure to our families and our caregivers, while balancing the need to maintain service to our operational units and continue those mission critical functions, those fleet functions, those worldwide command and control missions, and worldwide deployments that are ongoing. So our CDCs are very aggressive and very proactive about providing for the safety of their employees, the parents, and the children. And if you have any concerns, I ask that you please take those up directly with the CDC and with our Children and Youth Program chain of command. And we will do everything we can to address any questions. So question number 4. Are children of mission essential personnel able to attend the CDCs as well as the 24/7 center? Yes, absolutely. We are at a CYP2 level, which indicates that we are providing support to those mission essential personnel. Now, in order to do that, there is a mission essential personnel form that has to be filled out by both parents, and it has to be signed off on by the command of the parent. But we do provide those services to mission essential personnel, and that really is our core mission right now as we look at continuing operations and providing those mission critical services. So there is the possibility as this thing moves forward, though, that people's status may change. So parents who may not be in what's considered a mission essential status, but their status changes because their unit requires them to come to work on these rotational or distributed workforce schedules. We do have an avenue to address those changes as they come up. And if there is any question from anybody, they can contact their center directly, bring the issue up, and we will deal with it directly on a case-by-case basis. Our goal is to provide the child care necessary to enable those mission critical functions across the fleet to continue. Question number 5. If a child, parent, or caregiver was to test positive for COVID-19, would the center automatically close, and what other steps would be taken? So yes, absolutely, the center would be closed immediately. And all the parents who have children in the center would be notified of the COVID positive that occurred, and as many details as we could provide so that they could assess their risk of exposure. Additionally, the center wouldn't reopen until the deep cleaning and sanitation has been completed by Navy BUMED guidance, and that Navy Preventative Medicine has come in and cleared the center for reopening. So again, I thank you for tuning in for this week's Q&A. If you do have any questions or any concerns that are raised by these questions, or anything that has changed in the last week, please continue to bring those up through your chain of command. We will do our best to answer them with the best information we have. I appreciate your flexibility. I appreciate your dedication to the mission. We do have forces deployed around the world and operating around the world 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they and their families rely on us doing our job and supporting them. So thank you very much for continuing to focus on that. That's all I've got for this week. Please stay safe and stay healthy.